Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gridiron 2022. Dr. Ron Poniewasz, joined by the fun professor, Larry Kelly, everybody's favorite professor, Larry Kelly. He's the varsity baseball coach at Shenango, and he's also a member of the Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly, and George law firm. And he's one half of the award-winning podcast known as Gridiron, and that's what we are. It's often imitated, Larry, but it's never duplicated.
Never duplicated, my brother. And I was everybody's favorite professor because when I taught at Penn State, I was an adjunct professor. I gave everybody A's. So they all lined up to take my class, and it was pretty entertaining. We used to make them laugh a little bit. And so, yeah, I kind of was everybody's favorite professor. I mean, you took guys that gave A's, didn't you? I mean, if the word was out, Professor Kelly will give you an A, you took his class. That's the way it worked.
He tried to.
Now, it's my understanding that you were in college, you were the epitome, you were the poster child for the gentleman's C. You know what the gentleman's C is? That even though your grades were horrible, because you were a gentleman, they'd give you a C.
You know what? I actually did better in college than I did in high school. You know, as you know, I went to a private school, kindergarten through 12. But I did better in college than I did in high school. But
I could say the same thing. So did I.
Yeah.
My academic accomplishments became greater with each passing segment. I was better in college than I was in high school, and I was actually better in law school than I was in college. So I kind of figured it out. That if you studied, good things happen.
Yeah. And so you were a professor in college. How long were the classes?
Well, it was a night class once a week, supposed to be 3 hours, but I think it was a Monday night, and I used to make sure I was home for that Monday night football game. So oftentimes we ended it a little short.
Wow,
that was another reason. That was another reason I was a favorite.
Yeah, very encouraging.
All right, I can see Pete Sirianni now, but I can't see Ron Poniewasz. Is there a reason for that?
I don't know. I saw Pete as well, so he's making a cameo.
Well, he's the director of the Groove Ship, so he should be on camera once in a while.
Yeah, you have anything to say about his haircut? You say it off camera.
It's he needs another one. You can go to my barber, Pete. I'll line you up, $20, because whatever you're paying is way too much for that haircut.
Is that before or after tip?
That's after. Yeah, I mean, come on. It takes 5 minutes to cut my hair. It's like trimming a sheepdog. Clippers, 3 on the top, 2 on the side. Done. In and out.
All right, let's talk about athlete of the week.
Let's talk about athlete of the week. Listen, you got it right again. You're 3 for 3. You are on a streak. You're on a streak. This is the third time and the third week in a row that you got it correct. So I congratulate you. Go ahead. Tell us about the athlete of the week. Somebody who's near and dear to my heart.
That's why we got it right. He's near and dear to Larry Kelly's heart. You got it right.
Yes, he is.
Sophomore Sam Patton of Shenango High School. He is a 6 foot, 190-pound quarterback defensive back. And last week he had 9 carries for 220 yards and 4 touchdowns on runs of 4, 14, and 42 yards. And he completed his own pass attempt for 32 yards. Northgate. And that was so Sam Patton.
Well, I can say this much. As soon as we get Pete off the screen, little technical difficulties. That's a little scary. We're going to lose half our audience when they see that haircut. Sammy Patton's a great athlete. He started as a sophomore. Last year, you might remember Tino Campoli was recovering from arm surgery. Tino would have been a senior last year and the starting quarterback. He couldn't do it because of his injury, and Sammy stepped in. He's been getting better every game. He's a really tough kid. He's a smart athlete. He played baseball for me last year, and we're looking forward to him being back on the team this year. Great athletic gifts. Great athletic family that he comes from, good instincts. You know, he's the epitome of what I believe a championship athlete is all about. He's mentally tough. He's laser focused. He has all of the athletic skills to take him to the next level. Sam Patton's going to be something special before he's done it at Shenango High School. Based both as a football player, basketball, he's a great basketball player, and we're looking forward to having him be a big part of our baseball team next year.
All right, Larry, follow along if you would. Last year, when you were the 9th grade basketball coach at Newcastle, you've told us many times that the team was struggling early in the season and weren't playing too many competitive games, but that changed. And the guys got competitive as the season wore on and won some games. Was there some, I'm going to tie all this in, obviously. Did you guys have a moment where it clicked, where something just came together? Because Shenango was winless up until last week, 0-5, and then all of a sudden, you know, and granted, Northgate is toward the bottom of the standings and things like that, but 75 points. I mean, is this their moment of things are coming together, and now 0-5 could, you know, hopefully for Shenango turn into 5-5 at the end of the year?
It could. It really could. I mean, you know, look, good coaches, and Coach Graham's a good coach at Shenango. They keep emphasizing, you know, the points that you have to emphasize to be a winning program. And notwithstanding the early results, you continually go over it at practice, watch the film, point out the mistakes, and keep working on it. And, you know, I'm sure Coach Graham and his staff, they're working as hard as the players. And if you continue to do it, and you have players that are willing to absorb the coaching that's going on, you're going to get better. And that's what's happening with Shenango. Look, Northgate isn't Aliquippa, but the fact of the matter is they dominated every aspect of that game. And, you know, I believe the young kids that he's playing, and I know he's playing a lot of 9th and 10th graders, you know, the light's starting to come on. They're starting to figure it out. They're learning from their mistakes, and they are getting incrementally better every week. And, you know, like I said, our 9th grade basketball team, we lost 11 games last year. I don't think I lost 11 games in the previous 5 years. But the one thing that I'm proud of, they never quit, and we got incrementally better every week. And even though it didn't lead to a lot of victories, the games were competitive. We were competing. And that's what's happening with Shenango football right now.
Mm-hmm. 577 yards of total offense last week, and Sam Patton had a lot to do with that, certainly from the quarterback position. Larry Kelly, Sam Patton, Athlete of the Week. Anything else you'd like to say before we transition?
You're 3 for 3. That's 3 weeks in a row. You've picked the correct Athlete of the Week, and Sammy Patton was certainly deserving of it. A tremendous, tremendous outing for him, and I look for him to continue to have those kind of games moving forward. Congratulations, Sam, and continue the good work and great results.
All right, Sam Patton of Shenango High's football team, 6 foot, 190 pound sophomore quarterback, defensive back. He's our Athlete of the Week.
There's one thing I learned growing up around here. People should look out for each other, be friends and neighbors that you can count on. So it bothers me when people who are hurt in automobile accidents get bullied by the insurance company. I don't let bullies run over my clients. I do what I was taught growing up. Step up, stand up, and speak up for those who can't. I'm Larry Kelly, and I'm a Newcastle guy.
We're back with you here on Gridiron, and we are going to tell you about a team that has been on top for so long, and it's kind of unusual to see them struggle this year, and that is Wilmington. Wilmington High School is now 3-3 on the season after 6 games. A lot of times when you get the weeks through 6 games, you know, Wilmington would be 5-1, 6-0, not much below that. And it's this year they're struggling. Larry, would you say that the lack of seniors would be one reason why they only have 4 kids on the roster that are seniors?
Absolutely. I've been coaching high school sports long enough to know that 90% of the time, juniors and seniors beat freshmen and sophomores in high school sports. They do. Now, every once in a while, you'll have that exception to that rule. But more times than not, it is the senior-laden team who wins championships, especially in the sport of football. Because think of the difference of a body of a senior compared to a body of a sophomore. Just speaking for myself, I think when I was a sophomore, I was 5'8", 135 pounds. And by the time I was a senior, I was 6 foot 160. I still wasn't a giant, but at the same time, I had grown 4 inches and put on 25 pounds. And so, you know, if you don't have a lot of seniors in the lineup, then you're going to struggle, especially the teams they play, because, you know, they play a pretty tough schedule. And when you're lining up against Farrell, you better have you better be loaded for bear, or it's going to be a long day. And it was for them, losing 42-13 this past weekend.
Yeah, for sure. It's just out of character, and for them especially, Wilmington has really struggled in the first half. I think going into last week, I can't remember exactly how many points they had allowed in the first half in region games, but they had scored a grand total of 0. So unless you're playing a scoreless first half, you know, you're setting yourself up behind the 8 ball pretty good by not scoring.
And it doesn't allow them to play the game that they want to play. You know, Wilmington, their ground game is notorious. They grind you down and they run the ball down your throat. If you're down 21-0 or even more after the first half, you know, you got to go to plan B, which means throwing the ball. And even though they can do it, that's not their forte. That's not how they've won championships in recent years.
Yeah. The thing is, they have won some of those games this year where they're going to the fourth quarter losing 14-0 or 7-0. Hickory, I believe Greenville, a couple of the games, but it's not a recipe that you want to live by for sure.
Not for them. You know,
No.
we talked about it. The metric to win high school football games is to rush the ball for over 200 yards and keep your opponent under 150. You know, we look at all of the games this weekend. Again, I'm looking, Laurel ran it for 249, Rochester 150. That was a big win for Laurel. Neshannock 206, New Brighton 151, but that's skewed because Neshannock had a 34-0 lead after the first period, and I'm sure they pulled their first teamers. Union ran it for 303, Springdale 147. You know, so it's just another example. If you run the ball, you control the clock, you wear down the other team's defense. That seems to be the most telling metric in a high school football game. And, you know, that's what Wilmington has done year in and year out. But they're struggling this year. And again, it has a lot to do with, you know, the number of seniors that they're able to put out on the field. Again, there's a big difference between the body of a senior, the physicality of a senior, and the body and physicality of, let's say, a sophomore.
Yeah, and they have 4 games left. This week they play General McLean at home, and it's going to be, I believe, a salute to service type of a game. They're going to salute the military. But General McLean is 5-1 from what I've looked at in terms of records. So, and I don't think anybody really has a formula of how District 10 operates in terms of how many teams go in to the postseason and things like that. So, you know, even though this is non-region, you want to win, or certainly give yourself an awfully good accounting of it on the field. If memory serves me right, they still have Grove City and Slippery Rock still ahead, and I'm not sure who the other team is that they play. So a win here would go pretty far towards locking up a postseason spot, considering they beat Hickory, which is a AAA school, but in their region. They beat Greenville, as I mentioned. So I got to think this might be one of those must-win type of games.
Well, they're in danger of not making the playoffs. I don't know how Grove City's doing this year, but I know Slippery Rock beat Hickory last weekend, 23-20, and Hickory's year in and year out is a great football program and a championship football team. So, yeah, I would think they better have a good showing, not only in this game, but moving forward, or they may not make the playoffs, which for Wilmington, their streak has to go back years.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I want to say the last time they missed the playoffs was the last year before they had that 5-year run of District 10 titles. Terry Verrilli was the coach. And I don't remember what year it was exactly offhand, but I'm pretty sure that that was the last year they missed the playoffs. And then they ran off 5 straight years of.
And there you go. I mean, it's a program that year in and year out develops really good football players. And every once in a while, there's going to be a down year. There just is. And a lot of that has to do with senior leadership and the number of seniors that have come through the system and are now ready to play and who have played together for several years. So listen, yeah, Wilmington's not done, not by any stretch of the imagination. I still think that they're the gold standard for Lawrence County football and have been for several years.
Unless I'm thinking of the year that they lost at Meadville 34-6, that might have been a playoff game. But regardless, it's been a while since Wilmington has missed the postseason, Larry. So anything else you'd like to say on state of the Greyhounds?
No, listen, they're not done. It's just a matter of stepping back and continuing to build on the culture that you've developed over the years. Coach Fillion, you know, Wilmington will not be down for long. And the fact that they're 3-3 and we're making it like they haven't won a game this year, it tells you all you need to know about the quality of their football program. That when they lose 3 games in a season, we're shocked. That says a lot about who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The culture of the program, as we always preach.
Absolutely.
All right. He's Larry Kelly. I'm Ron Poniewasz. We appreciate you joining us this week on Gridiron. Be sure to go out and watch some games this week. We have just a precious couple in the county this week as Newcastle hosts Chartiers Valley and Wilmington plays host to General McLean. Some of the attractive games on the road will be in Shenango at Freedom, which kicks off at 7:30. Union's going to Rochester. That's going to be a really good game. Laurel takes to the road against Northgate. And you saw what Shenango did to Northgate last week. And now Northgate gets Laurel, which is at the top of the standings. So, boy, look out Northgate. And, you know, so those are some of our attractive matchups that we have this week around the county. So, again, go out and support your teams, your coaches, your student athletes, and we'll see you back here next week right here on Gridiron.
I became an attorney because I believe in hard work, fairness, and human decency. In a word, justice. My workers' compensation clients deserve justice because in an instant, their hard work turns into hard times when they get hurt on the job. No doubt, life is tough, but so am I. I've been fighting all my life, and I'll keep fighting for you. I'm Joe George, and here in Lawrence County, it's personal.